having made the decision, I felt relatively calm, but of course quite a lot of adrenaline. I had to try to ensure that the early pace was correct. Brasher went into the lead, and I was a bit worried that he wasn't going fast enough. But I had done nothing for 5 days. I hadn't trained. I just rested, and so I felt very full of running. And in the first lap, I was following him, and I said, "Faster, faster!" You know, an order. And in fact, he was going at absolutely the right pace. It was just that I was so full of running that I didn't feel that I was running fast. He ran the first lap very correctly in 58. He took us to the half mile in 2 minutes. Then Chataway took over, and he passed the 3/4 mile in 3 minutes, exactly as planned. And then I knew that I had to, we were then slowing down, inevitably, and I had to do the last lap in under 60 seconds. And that was quite fast, and I overtook Chataway at the beginning of the next to last bend, the end of the last end of that bend, overtook him, and then just had to run as fast as I could to the finish. I knew I was very close, but you get very tired, and there's a certain amount of pain, and you slow up. You think you're going faster, but your legs are so tired that you are in fact slowing. I did collapse at the end, partly because if you don't keep on running, keep your blood circulating, then you get a kind of failure. The muscles stop pumping the blood back, and you get dizzy. And I did lose my sight for a bit, because I was crowded in by everybody rushed onto the track. It was not a very well-organized meeting. It was a very informal meeting. And then about a couple of minutes later, the announcement came and was made by a friend of mine called Norris McWhirter, who later became the editor of the Guinness Book of Records, a person who was very punctilious in the management of facts and information, and he made the announcement. The result of event 4, the 1 mile, was the winner, Roger Banister, of Exeter and Merton Colleges, in a time which, subject to ratification, is a track record, an English native record, a United Kingdom record, a European record, in a time of 3 minutes. And then the whole of the track exploded, and nobody heard the rest of the announcement. So that was it. The reason sport is attractive to many of the general public, not to some intellectuals, is that it's filled with reversals. What you think may happen doesn't happen. A champion is beaten. An unknown becomes a champion. And I had set my mind on winning the 1500 meters gold medal in Helsinki in 1952. My ambition was always to do, say, what Lovelock had done and win a gold medal. And it all came disastrously wrong when I came fourth instead of winning. The reasons why I came fourth are unimportant. Of it was an reorganization of the pattern of the races, and my very slender training let me down. I did not have the capacity to recover quickly, but still, doesn't matter. Instead of retiring in order to devote myself to medicine, I decided to go on for another 2 years while I was still a student clinically, working clinically in London, and I did that. The target of the 4-minute mile then came into view. It was talked about in the 30s, and the Swedes got very close. but it had just taken us after the war to gradually come down to a time closer. And in '53, which was the year, if you remember, when Everest was climbed by a British and Commonwealth team, I ran 4 minutes 3 seconds, and I felt the next year it should be possible. It was my last year anyway, and so I trained hard through the winter with two friends, Chris Chataway and Chris Brasher. Brasher from Cambridge, Chataway from Oxford, and they helped with the pacemaking and really made it possible, because you can only break a time really by running evenly. It's a question of spreading the available energy, aerobic and anaerobic, evenly over 4 minutes. If you run one part very much too fast, you pay a price. You run another part more slowly, your overall time is slower. So that was really the secret. John Landy, my rival, ran 4 minutes and 2 seconds 3 or 4 times, and he used the phrase, "It's like a wall." Now, logically, I could not understand, as a physiologist, why a human being can run a mile in 4 minutes and 2 seconds and 4 minutes and 1 second, and why somebody else won't inevitably come along, train a little better, know that there's a target to be beaten, and beat it. So that was my mental approach to it. It was just fortunate for me that the pathway of record breaking, which continues in all aspects of athletics, had just reached this magical, critical 4 minutes, 4 laps of 1 minute each on a quarter-mile track. That was really the reason why it had conspired to become a possible barrier, physical or psychological. It wasn't, in my view, physical, but it did become, to some extent, psychological. And it was really an example, I don't know whether the word paradigm is correct, paradigm of human achievement in a purely athletic sense. What limits are there to what the body can do? Yes.